after recess is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is public comment. School patrons are given the opportunity to address the school board regarding items that are not on the agenda. All patrons will be asked to state their name for the record. While the board appreciates feedback from the public in this forum, board members will not comment on or discuss topics brought up by speakers. Professional decorum is expected at all times. If at any time there are violations of the rules of decorum, the chair reserves the right to call a recess or at the end of the session. Is there anyone here for public comment? Anyone here for public comment? Anyone here for public comment? There being none, we will move on to our program review with special education update from Anthony Frank. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Anthony Frank, and I'm the special ed supervisor serving Delano Public Schools, new this year, as I'm sure you're aware. Get the pleasure to talk to you tonight and just give an update on what is happening for special education in Delano. A few highlights here and updates. Just a rough estimate for you guys to know, we have roughly 440 active students or students who are on active IEPs. And the amount of hours that adds up to per week of services is just under 5,000. It's like 4,986, which is an incredible number. And right now, speaking of staffing, relating to staffing, we're looking at the same number of FTEs next year throughout the district. That's our hope. That's our plan right now. With students who are coming in and who's transitioning, graduating out of the district. Another update, one of the action cards coming into the district that I inherited too was just looking at our level 3 programming. The goal is to support our students, support our staff, and do what we can to keep students here in the district versus going to a level 4 program. One of the things we're doing recently is Masico has a classroom systems consultant. Her name is Amy Steinison. She's coming in. She's been meeting with our SPED teachers, going into these level 3 areas and programs, providing us with tips on how we might rearrange a room better to support our students and staff, or maybe offering suggestions of, maybe we should look into purchasing this or doing this. She comes into the district and she's not here to judge any of our staff members. She's just here to provide any critiques, suggestions that may be helpful for them, and they can just take it or leave it. But we've been working with Amy this year, which has been really helpful. Also, I've been connecting with our staff, just saying, hey, what do you need to do your job to the best of your ability, or what can we do to support you? Our staff so far has been really open to, sharing everything that's on their mind. I think we have a lot of good systems in place with our level 3 programming. This year we haven't had a student transition to a level 4 program. We've actually inherited a level 4 student back within the district, which is awesome. Any questions as I go on here, please feel free to stop me and say, hey, what do you mean by this, or ask away. A couple more SPED updates continued. I got to take part in Mace Day at the Capitol. It was 2 Wednesdays ago. We met with our local Congress or legislatures, both senators and representatives. The big highlight for us as a SPED supervisor group was just talking about funding, which is always the big hot topic. There's always potential for cuts in the future. So we were there just sharing, what that means to our departments if we lose funding and where we have to pull money from. But it was just a really great way to connect with our legislatures who we're constituents of. I met with Joe McDonald, Bobby Harder. They're both representatives. And then Senator Glenn Grunhagen, who's not necessarily in this district, but our neighboring districts to the south. And it was just good to, do a little meet and greet, answer their questions. A lot of them were very good about asking questions about, special education. Some of these individuals come in with zero background in education, so it's kind of fun to be able to sell what we're doing and the positives that are taking place. In the end of January, students at Delano Public Schools took place in Hockey Day Masico, both playing and supporting. Megan Chatterton, the athletic director here, had gathered a group of students, our hockey players, both from our girls and boys hockey team, to come support. They were officials. They ran the scoreboard. They helped make that day possible for our student athletes who got to participate. in Hockey de Masico. So that was a fun highlight we had at the end of January. Another highlight coming up is the DAPE Extravaganza, which will take place in Rockford, or at Rockford Public Schools. That is, I want to say it's April 20th, and we have our students from DIS who are going to take part in that. It's a morning of fun. They do a bunch of different physical activities. What else just kind of sticks out there? Just all these activities are designed to improve their motor skills, coordination, social skills. They get to meet and greet with a bunch of peers from different districts. A very fun event, something to look forward to. So I'm excited I get to take part in that as well. It's just some self-assessment updates. One thing we're trying to work on just improving within the district. So our transition programming, and that's where from 9th grade on, what resources and capabilities do we have to best support our students when they graduate from Delano Public Schools. This is an area where funding hasn't quite been there as much as in the past, so we have to try and get unique with, what can we do for our students to, I guess, give them that next step of where they can go. We have, through Masico, there's a STEP program where some students can go to. There's different college programs, too, for our students who might have a little more higher needs than others. What we're working on is just giving our staff more of those resources and different things to share with families just to help our students have, I guess, a more successful transition out of Delano Public Schools. One thing we're working on there. For systems and procedures, I'm a big collaborator with people, so I like to get teams together, and we're trying to just make things more efficient. One of those things we've been working on lately is I've been working with our school social workers on a checklist of when should a teacher go to you and for what? And you go through a checklist, and I'm working with them and their expertise on, if this happens, do I go to my social worker or do I go to this person first? And just trying to make it more efficient instead of teachers just saying, let's just use our social worker. Well, maybe we don't have to yet. But different programs like that and different things we've been doing within the district with the groups I'm meeting with is kind of fun, and it's just great to hear everyone's expertise too on their field and what they want it to look like here working at Delano. Any questions with that? Or any questions for me?
Maybe just a real quick understanding of defining ages 3 to 22.
Sure. Defining that? Okay.
It seems young and old, right?
Required.
Yes. Yes. So in the state of Minnesota Public Education, so students who are ages 3 to 21 can receive special education services. They're on an IEP. Birth to 3 is also a group who can receive special ed services. In Delano, our Masico service cooperative takes care of providing services for that birth to 3. So when they turn 3, we have a meeting. They might be a student or they're going to transition to the district for their SPED services. They might go into preschool and so on. So that's when we start them here within the district. And students can receive special ed services until they turn 22. So the day they turn 22, hopefully we have that transition programming talk and they have a next step after special ed services through the state of Minnesota. Good question. Did I answer your question? Probably. You got that? Okay. Any other questions? Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Sure.
I love it here so far, so thank you.
All right, next. The consent agenda is the next item on the agenda. This item includes a variety of different minutes, financial reports from the prior month. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Jess. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries to accept the consent agenda. Next item on the agenda is the resolution of gifts. Let me pull that. All right. This is a great list. The organizations below have generously donated for a variety of different initiatives. The Charities Aid Foundation, $22 for Delano Elementary School. Zahler Photography, $1,000 for Delano Intermediate School. DIS Pie, $1,200 for Powder Ridge tickets, and $1,248.28 for the bus, and $300 for the spring conference meal. Delano Basketball Association, $400 for unified basketball. Box Tops for Education, $105.20 for Delano High School. Ohio Pile Prints, $49.67 for Delano High School. High School Pie, $300 for conference meal, and $62.92 for the bus transportation to Brant Airfield. Dance Booster Club, $2,101 for state dance tickets reimbursement. Coburn's, $250 for the community education archery program, and the following Orange Crush Robotics team, $3,026. Proto Labs, $1,000. Core Trust, $500. And KLN Family Brands, or Toughies, $750. All of these organizations have generously offered to donate to the public schools district for these items mentioned above. This, do I have a motion to approve the resolution of gifts?
So moved.
Motion by Ryan,
Second.
second by Sarah. All, this is a roll call vote.
Board Member Schaus.
Aye.
Board Member Baker. Aye. Board Member Deppa. Aye. Board Member Gerke.
Aye.
Board Member Black.
Aye.
Board Member Roser.
Aye.
Board Member Morila. Aye.
Motion carries to accept the resolution of gifts. The next item on the agenda is personnel matters. This report contains a variety of resignations, recommendations for employment, and also some lane changes there in the middle to the end of it.
We had two that obtained their master's degree by this time period.
Which is, thank you for pointing that out,
Yeah.
Superintendent Shane. There are two, yes, Ms. Huju and Ms. Johnson, both, are those the two, right? Yep.
That's right.
Obtaining their master's degree, so very exciting for them to continuing education with the district. And also appreciate everyone else for their continuing education as they continually pursue excellence for our students. We also have a couple of contracted hires, which I know that Superintendent Shane will reference, that we're excited related to the principal and director of operations and finance, although we're sad and happy for both of those occasions. So, any questions or comments on the personnel matters report?
I'll make a comment. That was a heavy lift, getting a lot of really important stuff done over the last month or two. So I'm kind of patting myself on the back, but I'm really patting my teammates on the back. All the hiring, the admin committee, working with you, Matt, Mary, everyone. And everybody in the school district actually on the interview committee and stuff like that. There's a lot going on. So pretty cool. We'll see how these new people turn out, but so
Pressure. Way to prove it, would you?
Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving. All right, do we have a motion to approve the
I'll
personnel?
make the motion.
All right, motion by Corey,
Second by Jim.
second by Jim. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries to accept the principal personnel matters. Next up are administrative reports. First up, Superintendent Shane.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I have 3 items that I wanted to cover with you, and really actually 2.5, because I'm not going to get too far into. If you've noticed through the legislative session, your superintendent hasn't given you much of an update. And I know MSBA sends out updates on how things are going and deadlines of committee work. And the reason why is I've been doing this a long time, and I knew well in advance before this session started, first of all, it's not a budget year. And second of all, it is so evenly divided, nothing's going to get done. And I hate to be a pessimist, and I hate to be, but that's the reality of the folks. And if you paid attention to the opening sessions, obviously it was a very somber moment at the beginning because we had members of the legislative body that were tragically killed. But soon after that, the gloves went off. and they were pointing about fraud, and they were talking about this, and the Republicans are blaming the Democrats for that, and vice versa. The Democrats are saying the Republicans won't do anything on gun laws, and people are getting shot and killed. So I knew I didn't want to really burden your time up until this point. With that said, though, there are things that are moving through, and there are things that are somewhat on pace. And I'll probably start giving some more. Valerie Dolstead is the lobbyist for the MASA. She also does some work for MACE too as well, special ed component of the state organization. So there's just a lot of stuff that's going on, but it's really almost, it's gotten ugly. As it's been a kind of a mirror of how society is. If you've noticed anything on national television, they've been dragging that governor up to Washington, D.C. to kick the tar out of him in front of all sorts of organizations and groups and blaming him for fraud, not proper oversight of fraud. And it's just real nasty. So I'd rather just not share as much until we have some more definitive things that come to shape. I will tell you this, that we are watching, and I've mentioned this before, the Blue Ribbon Committee on Special Ed funding. Their task is to remove $250 million out because they spent in 2023 to cross subsidy. If you remember, there was a tremendous amount. Well, in the next biennium, they're going to be looking at close to a deficit, if not right there. I think they're about, I don't know what the $1 million mark is on that. But in the next two bienniums, the state is going to be in some serious financial trouble, which affects public schools and affects the funding. Of the dollars that are left, ADSIS looks to be on the block. That is a huge deal for this district. So I'll keep you posted as we go through that piece too. But I wanted to spare you the drama of pointing fingers and blame and shame game, because that's what it is. The other part of it is every single member of the state legislature is up for election. So they're voting based on constituent base, based on getting reelected, if they are. There has been over the last several years, probably 2-3 years, high level of retirements. So people that have been longstanding members that we've worked with over the years on funding, on policy, mandates, things like that, are leaving, and so they're retiring. So there's new faces around, but no shortage of blaming each other. So fun stuff there. I did share with the board a little bit more of detailed information with regards to the process of our community education building. We laid out a preliminary schedule over the next 12 to 16 months, culminating with, at least right now, preliminarily a plan of a referendum in the spring of 2027. So we went through that whole process in much more detail, but I just wanted to make sure that the community knows that the district is going to be in earnest over the next 12 to 16 months, planning engagement and going through the data gathering and all the information and getting the reactions of our community and building consensus with options, and eventually coming to the board with a recommendation for review and comment that would go to the state, and then eventually a referendum. And last, but most certainly not least, as Corey mentioned, I can sleep now. Two very big leadership positions. Not to say anything of the other leadership positions that are here as part of my executive leadership team, but Kate Hagerman, you approved her notice of assignment for the high school principal position. Kate, unfortunately, was planning on coming here, but she took ill. And so she didn't want to give the board or any of us any of her stuff that's going on. So she couldn't make the meeting tonight. So Kate is very, very excited to join our team. She will join officially July 1 of 2026. And we'll have several transitional meetings between current administration and future administration and moving forward. The onboarding process will be extensive, and the first 100 days will be critical for that, for Kate to really establish that foundation of good, positive, effective working relationships with her staff and all the key components within the district and the team. Scott Lesage is here. Come on forward, Scott. Scott is going to be a new Director of Finance and Operations. He's going to be filling the big shoes. You can have a seat right there in front there. The big shoes of Mary Reeder. If you recall, this position reorged a bit with a little bit more oversight and direct reports going to this position. We're actually going to have Scott start May 4th. This is a critical transition. We're going to front load it instead of back loading it. So Scott and Mary will have a couple of months to work together on transition, understand systems and things like that. Scott comes with 10 plus years of public school finance experience. I didn't want to go through his whole resume, but he's very familiar with Delano. He worked at Masico as their financial person in our special ed cooperative. Scott ended up doing some time in Wayzata, worked for the Wayzata school districts, and he is recently in District 287. So he comes to us with a wealth of information, a wealth of experience, and I think Scott's extremely excited to be here. So I asked him just to say a few words and welcome him officially.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for the introduction, Superintendent Shane. Thank you, board members. So I'm really excited for the opportunity. I always write things down, but my 19-year-old daughter at NDSU said, "Dad, no more paper. Do it on your phone." So I'm trying to do things on my phone, but I'm extremely excited about this opportunity. So thank you for that. I'm so excited to be joining a talented team, great school district, great community. And I think Mary would tell you, and Matt mentioned Masico. Since 2019, when I started at Masico, I have always thought Delano would be a fantastic place to be. And it was, whether it's okay to say or not, it was always a place that if it ever was a real opportunity, I would leave where I was at to come here. So I'm extremely excited about it and can't wait to get started. So thank you so much. And as Superintendent Shane said, he can sleep now. Now I don't really sleep. So I know I've got extremely big shoes to fill. Mary and her team are incredible. So I'm also very grateful to be coming into a well-run department. That is a huge relief, and she is so talented. So thank you in advance for your patience with me as I try to get up to speed. And I don't know that I can ever match her level, but Mary is incredible at what she does, but I'll work hard to get there.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you. Matt, next we have the principal reports. First up, Ms. Thompson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here this evening to present to you on behalf of the intermediate school. This evening, I'll just share a few things that are happening this month. First of all, with our site-based team, this month our site-based team is working on handbook updates still. In May, we'll be bringing to the work session our handbook updates, so there's just some things that we're looking at. In that area, our team just kind of goes back and forth. We talk as a site base, they bring it to their teams, they get feedback, we kind of do it that way, and look at some areas that we want to revise. The other piece that we'll look at site-based actually tomorrow morning is, like I shared in the work session, we recently did our Take 20s, so I'll bring to them just some of the themes and feedback that I got from teachers, some of the things that were reported as being positive, some areas for improvement, and then we'll just talk as a team if there's any areas that we would like to just take some action on as the year wraps up. We do still have a few months left. That was part of the reason for wanting to have those conversations in February instead of May, is that we could still maybe take some action steps. And so we'll look at if there's any areas that we can strengthen as the year wraps up. So that's what we're working on in site-based. For professional development, we have an early release day. This coming Wednesday, as usual, we have our phase 1 letters teachers, and they are going to be wrapping up their letters training. They've been working on that for 2 years now. It's about, it's a good number of my staff working on that 4th grade special education. And they're going to be finishing that up this year, and I'm very proud of them because that's a 2-year process and it's pretty intensive. As they're wrapping up this year, our phase 2 teachers are starting. So that's the other half of my building. And they'll actually be doing their first training with a program called Strive, starting during the early release. So we'll have some overlap here for the next couple of months where almost my whole building is doing some Read Act training of some sort. So that'll keep us busy during this particular early release on Wednesday. Additionally, we do have some paraprofessional training that Mr. Hinker is facilitating. I just wanted to highlight because I think that it's important that we're doing this. We have 4 new paraprofessionals that we hired this year, and they've just been really amazing, and we want to cultivate that and keep them, hopefully. So we're doing a Q&A with some veteran paras. They're going to come and answer some questions for our new paras, just to hopefully support them and answer some of their questions. We have some excellent veteran paras with a lot of insight. So we're going to do a professional development session for them as well on Wednesday. For our MTSS, the next universal screening that we have coming up is our SABRS screener. So SABRS, if you remember, is our social emotional screener. We do that 2 times a year. So that's happening in April. Usually we do that on an early release day. The kids do a version of it and then teachers do a version of it. With our READ training, we don't have time for teachers to do that, so we're going to have to rethink how we get that done. Probably it's just going to be a task to work on throughout the month of April, but we do have that screening window coming up. We'll compare and contrast our results fall to winter in that area. And then I'll just share some events from the month of March. March went by really fast, a really short month. But we do have an author visit happening tomorrow. Author Lynn Kelly will be coming to visit us. That was arranged and sponsored by our PI, our Media Center Para, some parents. So she'll be doing some presentations to some grades. We have our Battle of the Books wrapping up tomorrow. So if you want to come and see some fierce competition tomorrow afternoon, that's happening. It's always super fun and really intense. So if you haven't come, I would encourage you to come and check that out. Our 5th grade attended BizTown. They've been doing that for the last couple of years. They brought their 5th grade team. They go through a whole curriculum. They go and they participate in, it's like a real life business world city kind of thing that they do. So it's really cool. They bring kids to do that. They did that the first week in March. And then, it's a short month. We're wrapping up. Spring break is next week, and we are looking forward to it. So that's what's happening in the intermediate school. Are there any comments or questions? Great. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. It's a pleasure to represent Delano High School for you all today. Believe it or not, we are fully into spring. Just last week we started trimester 3, and almost all of our spring sports are off and running. And I just want to, it's been a custom of mine to recognize individuals or teams at the beginning of my board report. And this month, I just want to really extend a sincere gratitude to the Delano community as a whole. Obviously, the community of Delano has been very supportive of our programs at the school. In all facets, but particularly it's maybe very noticeable with respect to activities. And now that we have just sort of wrapped up our winter season, I wanted to extend that heartfelt appreciation, because it's really obvious when we attend our events, whether it's section playoffs or state tournaments, the Delano community shows up and supports. I maybe should not say this on the record, but it was told to us by some member of the State High School League that they were really rooting for us to win our state hockey semifinal game, because if you follow the state hockey tournament, we set attendance records for both the Friday and Saturday session. If you were present on Saturday during the 3rd place game, obviously the fans were relatively sparse. We played a 9:30 game. Where we showed out on Friday. And so they were really rooting for Delano to make it, because they were looking forward to an awesome, attendance by the Delano community. So it's noticeable when you're there in those venues and you see a lot of the black and the orange and you hear the cheering and stuff like that. So, and again, it extends beyond hockey, right? But that was the most recent example. So a sincere appreciation to the community of Delano for supporting all of our programs, not just the activities, but all of our programs. As we move into spring, it is testing season. We have the ACT being proctored here at the high school on Wednesday. Right around the corner when we get back from spring break is MCA season. And Ms. Thompson referenced our universal screening of SABRS. And so our students are actually going to engage in SABRS tomorrow with the My SABRS assessment taken in advisory program. And then we're going to have some teachers we're going to have all of our teachers utilize the early release time on Wednesday to do the teacher SABRS. Obviously, we look at those pieces of information. Those will go into our EduClimber system, as you saw during the work session, and we will identify those students that need support. Historically, we've learned that we do a really pretty good job of identifying which students need support and then providing supportive strategies for those students. But this is just another layer of data that we can cross-reference our efforts. Again, with respect to EduClimber, you did see that presentation in the work session, and I'm going to share some of the data that I pulled with respect to the high school, which just to put a plug in, not that we need additional plugs, but the data to sort of overall assess our effectiveness is really easy to pull because of EduClimber. So I do have some updated information regarding our FAST testing. Remember that our FAST testing is grades 7 through 10 in both math and reading. And this past semester or trimester, in trimester 2, our FAST proficiency sat at 82%. If you compare that to trimester 1 we were at 87%. So this trimester we were at 82%. The key thing to know there is, especially with trimester 2 data and at the high school level, is not all of our 9th and 10th graders are taking that FAST assessment during that trimester. So the number of students represented in that data is a little bit different. But nevertheless, I wanted to give you that update of our latest status check. With respect to reading, however, we actually improved by about 5%. So we went from 76.5% proficient in the fall to 81% proficient in the spring. With respect to discipline, to give you a perspective of what last year was like in terms of minor incidents, we had 1,284 minor incidents in all of 24-25 school year. This year to date, so 2/3 of the way through the year, we're at 595. So that's a pretty significant reduction. And I should say, of those 595, 223 of them are cell phone violations, 111 are conduct violations, and then insubordination and disruptive round out the top 4. So pretty significant improvements in the areas of discipline. With respect to another data point that I wanted to reference, because we celebrated this highly back in trimester 1, is our F report. A little bit of a caveat with this information is that technically our grade book doesn't close until Wednesday night. We did have to adjust the grading window because of the state hockey tournament and the expected student absences during finals week. So we adjusted that slightly. So the numbers I'm about to give you are not final numbers, but we think that they're probably pretty close. If you recall back on trimester 1, we only had, I'm going to forget the number now, 9 students in grades 9 through 12 that received an F or an unsatisfactory grade, which was by far a record. In trimester 2, that number is only still 27 students. So 27 students. When I did the math and figured out how many grades out of all of them that were possible to receive, less than 1% of our students, or I should say, less than 1% of the grades our students received are either an F or a U. So we're really proud of that number. Again, a testament to the work that our teachers are doing with students during the win times specifically. And when compared to the 7th and 8th grade numbers, they were similar to trimester 1. So we had roughly 34 students in grades 7 through 8 that received Fs or Us. So that kind of was all reviewed with you as part of our data-driven decision-making action card. As you know, data-driven decision-making has been an emphasis of ours, a specific area of improvement. And so we are starting now to be able to utilize the EduClimber data to make assessments on the overall effectiveness of our programs. I want to provide an update on a couple more of our action cards, one of which is the 7th and 8th grade class meetings. Those are all completed now. If you have a 7th or 8th grader, or you know 7th or 8th graders, you've maybe heard that they've been pulled in during advisory/win times for 7th grade meetings and 8th grade meetings. Throughout those 4 meetings, we've talked about the elements of the Tiger Way, so teamwork, inclusion, grit, excellence, and respect. We've watched a variety of sort of instructional or informational videos. We've talked about how all of those skills are interrelated with each other. And the real emphasis has been to get students to reflect on what small, tangible things they can do that will lead to large positive impacts around the school. So each one of those sessions, I've asked the students to sort of make a commitment. I even asked those students to report to their parents about what their commitments have been so that they can be supported along the way. But talking again about teamwork, inclusion, grit, excellence, and respect. So we've wrapped up all of those class meetings with 7th and 8th graders. After each one of those meetings, I've sent communication out as a way to share our story with parents to help them understand what efforts we're making with respect to those key areas. The overall theme has been also that, not only do we want to improve school climate and culture, but we believe that it's really those elements that are going to lead to student success. It's not really our job as school staff to pick a student's pathway or to determine a potential career. regardless of a career field that a student chooses. Ultimately, it's going to be the degree to which students can demonstrate teamwork, inclusion, grit, excellence, and respect that are going to allow them to be successful. Our staff has recognized the value of those presentations, so actually, we're going to be integrating that similar type of a presentation to our 10th graders after spring break. So we'll kind of let the dust settle in the start of trimester 3, and then once we get back from spring break, we're going to include 10th graders in that conversation. And then I'm also happy to report with respect to our Tiger Tracks program. This has been something that's sort of been in research and development for the past year and a half or so. A huge thank you to the Delano Education Foundation for their support of funding to support this program. Tiger Tracks is our induction and mentorship program. And so this is our mechanism to try to help integrate new 7th graders into the Tiger Way of Delano High School. And so they've been sort of doing a lot of planning over the course of the year, and then they've been planning a pilot program. So last Friday, the small group of mentees and mentors actually met in this space to have a breakfast together and talk about, sort of kick off that process of that mentor-mentee program. And I also know that plans are in place to have our mentors and mentees join the intermediate school over the summer months when they do their sort of big kickoff as part of their program. So with that, that concludes my update for this evening. I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding Delano High School.
With our 34 Fs that are roughly in the 7th and 8th grade, is that an age thing you think, or is it students getting multiple Fs, or it's a smaller group of kids with a high number, so I'm wondering if that's more age related or if it's kids kind of piling them on and not, obviously.
Yes. I think it's all of those things. When looking at the report, there are more students that are accruing multiple Fs or Us than certainly are at the upper levels. So I do think that it's very much an age thing. There's still sort of this conventional wisdom that we're battling constantly, that 7th and 8th grade doesn't matter, right? Because technically the high school transcript doesn't start until 9th grade. So that's kind of a pervasive attitude among some of our 7th and 8th graders that we've been battling over the course of the years. Luckily, and I would venture to guess that if you look at our 9th through 12th graders now, when they were 7th and 8th graders, they had similar results of, grades and things like that. So the good news is even though that sort of conventional wisdom of 7th and 8th grade not mattering they do grow out of that to some degree. It takes some longer than others. It would be our intention for students to make that realization sooner, right? So that they don't have to suffer through maybe a rough transition between 9th and 10th grade. But I think it's very much endemic of the age and development of those students at that grade levels for sure.
And at the high school level, are any of those PSEO grades that we're looking at, or are those not included? Because I know we talked about if a kid fails in PSEO, we don't find out about it until it's too late, really.
Yeah, so none of those are likely to be, I shouldn't say none of those, but the timing that we receive PSEO grades and transcripts doesn't always line up with our trimester breaks. So I would actually have to go back and look at the list of Fs that were received and dig into which classes specifically. I didn't go through it that fine tooth or that fine detail. I kind of just counted students and counted Fs to kind of assess the overall numbers. But yes, historically we have had sort of a predominance of Fs coming from PSEO classes. That's not to say, of course, that a majority of our students in PSEO courses are earning Fs, but there is a larger proportion of Fs coming from PSEO classes than our classes here.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Voigt? Thank you. Next, Ms. Schultz.
Good evening, everyone. Happy to be here on behalf of the elementary school. Last month I shared a lot, so this feels a little bit lighter. And there's no cute second graders with me this time around. But thank you for allowing them to join us last month and for allowing me to sort of find my way in how to present what we do during I Love to Read month. I know it was kind of Mr. Schuler's intention to share and highlight kids reading, and that is still really important. So tried the video, that didn't land right, but then having the kids here was really great. So thanks for being flexible while I kind of figured out what would work best for our school and our students. As far as this month goes, regards to site-based, we are obviously reviewing our goals continually, handbook revisions similarly to the other schools as well. Those seem a little bit lighter this year as far as handbook, which is always nice. It sort of means we've kind of figured out kind of the pulse of the needs of the staff and the community. We are kind of looking at our attendance piece in regards specifically to tardies. We have several students that come tardy to school, and they're missing a portion of the start to the day, where a lot of times those foundational peer interactions or some of our morning meeting time has occurred. And some of it is when some instruction is occurring as well. And there really is no way to equate like the minutes of tardies that accrue and how that can impact a student's attendance. So we're just kind of looking at surrounding districts to see some districts have X amount of tardies is equal to 1 excused or unexcused absence. So we're just trying to figure that out, not to penalize, but just to kind of promote the importance of being at school on time and to offer support to families if they're having certain issues that are prohibiting them from getting their kids to school on time. So that's just something that Mr. Ludwig is heading up. He handles most of our attendance policies and concerns. So just kind of doing some research there. So there might be a change in regards to that. We also booked our August retreat day for our site-based teams, and that's last year we all got on the same page as far as each of the buildings to have our site-based retreat on the same day, which was helpful in planning for upcoming things in August when it gets pretty busy. We're also discussing the staffing for gen ed, special education, and paras right now and getting all of that sorted out. And then we also recently shared out our desired daily experience surveys. As you recall, we all kind of worked on those as the strategic planning committee. So now we're getting some of that baseline information on how are we doing, kind of getting that first check-in with our staff and our community and our families. And then the high school and the intermediate school are talking with students about those desired daily experiences too. So we're anxious to get that feedback back so we have a place to start and know where we can grow. As far as the professional development areas, we are looking at planning that 26, 27. And the implementation of new math curriculum will be heavy at the elementary since that will be a new initiative for us. There's also, now that we're all going to be letters trained at the elementary school, we're excited. It's been great training, but we're really excited to all get on the same page as a collective unit, kind of working on some other common goals, vertical team meetings, some data analysis and win planning. And as you saw from Lindsay and Monica and Cassidy's presentation, there is a lot to learn with EduClimber that we're excited to roll out to our staff because there's a lot of capabilities within that can help align with some of those other goals. So that's what we're looking at for next year as far as professional development. And then some events that we have had and also that we are looking forward to. Mr. Elfs had his 2nd and 3rd grade music concert. So those went off very well. And in May, Mrs. Coots will have her concerts. We had our kindergarten open house and we had the new format and it was wonderful. It was great. It was a huge success, mostly because of just some planning with the kindergarten team members, the office staff, just everybody came together and it was a really wonderful night. I know I saw some of you there as well. So thanks for coming and visiting and bringing your incoming kindergartner. So it was great. Special thanks to transportation, food service, social worker, community ed staff was there. So we were able to get some more appointments signed up for screening. It was really a nice night. So that will probably be what we do moving forward in upcoming years. So, and then we had our Tire Fun Fair, which was amazing as usual, thanks to our PI group for organizing and planning. And we had volunteers from all over the school, the community, high school, some local churches and various organizations. They just all come together and sign up and help. And it's a great event. We have MCAs coming up and we have our Imagination Fair in April as well. And I'll report back on that in April. Any questions or comments?
You say thank you now, wait till she shows up.
Oh, we love them all.
Volume level will go up about 4x. She's pretty good.
We're ready.
That evening too, I can't believe how many people ask me, hey, you got another grandkid coming in? Nope, they're all in there now. So, no more incoming kindergartners yet, so.
I was going to ask, as far as the tardiness, is it grade specific or is it pretty consistent K through third?
Yeah, we haven't really tracked grade specific, but obviously the bus always shows up on the same time. So it is for our parent drop-off families, and so, that's just part of the deal. If they're on their own timeline, then that makes it a little bit trickier to make sure that they're there at the same time every day. But yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I imagine that like spreads it out on its own, because if they have 2 kids, you could end up with a smattering in the same car.
Next item is Mary Reeder for our business manager report.
I have just a few things to go through if you want to go to page 2. On this page, if you notice under the bottom, right in the middle, down towards the bottom, we have a negative $7,200 in the red. That is, we're waiting for a reimbursement from our property and liability insurance company. They had a billing snafu, so we're patiently waiting. They came out and met with me last week because it's time to get ready for our renewal for FY27. I reminded them that we're still waiting, and they said they would get back to me on that soon. So just don't be afraid by seeing that. We aren't in the red. We do have about $30,000. Yeah, so we'll be good. But overall, numbers.
Interest is running, right? Tell 'em.
I know.
Man,
I want a $30,000 snap.
Anyway, just wanted to point that out, that yes, that we're really not in the negative there. Otherwise, everything is still consistent. If you look over the 5-year period, everything is still on track as we do. I keep the expenditure analysis from the past 2 years of audits just as a little go-to for people to know that we are on track. But then we haven't really done much with the budget yet. We've had a little issues going on in my office. I've been kind of focused on a different area, but we'll get there. But I did want to talk about compensatory revenue. I talked about it last month, saying that, we've got we're about $20,000, a little under $20,000 less. I know compared to what we're getting this year or what we're going to get next year, it will go up a little bit. I don't know how much yet. We had another meeting on it just the other day. They still haven't released that, but they did say one thing I thought was very interesting, that part of Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, that fewer people are going to qualify for Medicaid. And for us, that could have an impact down the road. Our compensatory number of students tripled once they brought the Medicaid in as direct certified, because that's all they're looking at now. If now those families would not qualify for medical assistance, it may decrease the number of people that would qualify for compensatory revenue for our district. We don't know what that's going to look like. I don't really know how that's all going to roll out, but there is a task force that is working on this. One of their items that they're looking at is, how do people qualify using direct certification? Is that really the way that they should continue to do it? So they're bringing a lot of pieces into place, but that is just one thing that they realized after the new legislation came down from the feds, that things could significantly change. We aren't one of the losers at this point in time. There are districts that are losing millions. We're maybe going to see a decrease of about $10,000. But some districts, your bigger ones with the higher poverties, they are seeing millions of dollars in loss for compensatory. So just something to keep in the future, but next year we're still on track.
If less of our kids qualify for Medicaid, I don't know how much we bill for special ed into Medicaid, but will that change that? Because I know parents don't have to allow us to bill their insurance.
That's correct. We get about $50,000 to $60,000 in reimbursement back from medical assistance for this, because we can bill for certain services, your speech language, some PCA type stuff. We're looking at doing some nursing. We haven't done We haven't ever done nursing in the past, but that's just something that Masik was kind of starting to help us look at to see if that's something we can bill for. But for us, that's about $50,000 to $60,000 a year.
So if families aren't direct certified and it goes to their private, they may choose not to allow us to bill that.
Yeah, no, they're
Intended consequences.
unintended consequences. That is correct.
Just for reference, Mary said some other things are going on. Mary's been doing payroll on top of her job right now. So, a little busy.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But, so, yeah, we got a lot going on, but it's all good.
I'm gonna make it sting on your way out the door, sorry.
No, it's change is good, and God coming on is going to be awesome for you guys. So I'm excited. Thank you.
We has to do my timesheet.
I'll be reminding you of that coming up because I want it by the June 20th payroll. So
That is a
there you go.
full-time job for Scott, right there.
Thanks, Mary.
Yes, thank you.
Next up, community ed, is Abby Lake.
Everyone, thanks for having me. We're going to take a little look backwards before we look forward. So as Rachel just mentioned, Community Ed was able to participate in the kindergarten open house a couple of weeks ago, and kudos to Rachel and all her staff. It was absolutely fabulous. We got to touch base with so many families and had the ability to bring some laptops and have families register for preschool screening right there, or early childhood screening right there. We handed out so many Dad's Day flyers like, hey, Mom, do you want a break? Here's an opportunity. And we're seeing some numbers come in, and that was fun, too. It's really fun to see our preschool students see us, not in the preschool building, and kind of go, I think I know you, but this is weird. You're not where you normally are. So it was a lot of fun, and we appreciate being part of that. As long as I'm talking about preschool, in the state of Minnesota, the Parent Aware program is the quality rating program for early childhood programs. And in the community of Delano, Delano Public School preschool holds the highest rating, a 4-star rating. That goes from 1 star to 4 stars. 1 star is meeting basic needs. Every star above that has those same parameters and additional. So for us to hold a 4-star highest award, that means that we are demonstrating our excellence in preparing children for kindergarten, and that at the same time we are very committed to continual improvement and professional development. Some of the things that go hand in hand with that 4-star rating is using developmentally appropriate curriculum that's research-based. Same thing with assessments, having licensed teachers, having a really strong family engagement, aligning our curriculum with ESIPs, which is the Early Childhood Indicators of Progress. I'm very proud to say that this is the program in Delano that holds a 4-star rating. So I think that's something to note, and the accolades to all of the staff that are dedicated to it. At that same time, we are looking at doing, sorry, I just lost my place. I'm at the point where I need it to see you guys, but I don't need it to see down here. So it's a little bit of the back and forth. Last week, I had the ability to attend the annual meeting at Franklin Township, and I'm pleased to say that the township is continuing to support community education and increase their support by 11% for the next 2 years. So we appreciate their support and the ability to go and talk about community ed to the township members. So that was kind of exciting. That was the first time that I had been to Franklin Township. So over the weekend, we upgraded our registration platform to ERIX, formerly known as Elio. ERIX is our new platform that we're excited to bring forward. It's going to have the same look and feel. We kind of just transferred everything over until we're done with the branding process. We had the ability to do an update. We said we'd rather wait until we have an established logo, until we have established colors and fonts. And so we were able to bring it over as is, and we'll be doing some zhuzhing here in a couple months. So we're excited about that. Looking ahead, we had talked briefly about our archery student. Cora Schmidt is considered number 5 for high school girls in the state, and she'll be representing Delano here on March 28th. So please give her the best wishes as she moves on in that endeavor. Looking ahead a little bit farther, we are going to be opening summer registration here in a couple weeks, so we're excited about that. And I forgot my brochure sitting on my desk. One of the things we are super excited is that the front cover pictures a child in the swimming pool. We are going to be bringing back swimming lessons. This that was my, here it is. We are partnering with Velocity Swim to kind of create that cycle. We want our youngest and everybody to learn how to swim safely. You cannot go a mile in any direction and not hit a body of water. You have to be able to be safe. We want to bring our youngest ones in. We want to teach them to love swimming. We want to graduate them out of the program. Hopefully they want to swim for Velocity. Those swimmers then turn around and want to become lifeguards and swim teachers for us, and the cycle keeps repeating. So we're excited about introducing a new program this summer. We are going to lightly roll it out, meaning that we will have some assessment days because it's been a while since we've had swimming lessons. Parents may not know where their swimmers should be. Get in the pool, we'll spend a few minutes with you, we'll help you figure out where that is. Then we're going to have some mini camps, which number one is good for students in the water, also good for our new swim teacher staff to have some of that hands-on training. We're anticipated to slowly roll out late August, September, with probably Sunday afternoon swimming lessons. Continue that through the year. Next summer, 27, we plan to hit the ground running. So, super excited about that. If you have someone that you know that may be interested in becoming a lifeguard or teaching swimming lessons, please send them my way. They do not have to know how to swim, or, well, we'll teach them how to. They do not have. We're going. Sorry, they do not have to be swimmers. They do not have to be on the swim team. We will teach you how to teach swimming lessons. They do have to get wet. There's that one precursor.
What age are you looking for these teachers? Do they have to be 16?
Swim teachers, I would like them to be 16. Lifeguards, they can be 15. Aides, we can look at 14. That's more of the opportunity to dip your toe, start to learn. One of the things I'm excited about is I've been starting to connect with some of our TKC aides. Some of the best swim teachers I've ever had come out of school-age childcare because they know how to talk to kids. They know how to classroom management. They know how to keep them all going in the same direction. So I walked down the hall. I'm like, swimming lessons? See if they bite. I've had a couple of them that said, yeah, maybe. So we're excited one way or another. This summer, we will start getting back in the pool. Finally.
It's the earthquake that I felt did you make this decision like a couple of weeks ago? Because I felt a little tremor.
Yes. Yes.
Got it.
Well, it was kind of our brochure is coming out. Are we going to be able to do this? I'm putting it on the front cover. So no, it's a big process. We've decided to move away from Red Cross and develop our own curriculum. You're seeing that more and more in school districts and programs across the state. Red Cross is fabulous. It's also really expensive and really hard to maintain. We can have an equally good curriculum and training program that meets our needs, but also the needs of our swimmers. The biggest thing is that we're doing it safely and effectively, and it's sustainable. So that's what we're really trying to do, is create that system, that rotation through. Finally, before I leave, looking ahead, Touch a Truck is the infamous ECFE Touch a Truck event. On May 2nd from 10 until noon at Central Park, we are going to have a variety of vehicles, including a helicopter, weather pending, that families can show up free of charge. Kids of any ages can come out, see all the vehicles, experience, touch, climb, do the things. We also have a noise-free or horn-free sensory hour for those that get overwhelmed by the amount of noise. That's from 10 to 11. So we're super excited about that. Hopefully the helicopter will be able to touch down. I heard about that not being in Delano last year, so it's a big deal. And if you by chance happen to know somebody who owns a limousine or a piece of farm equipment or a monster truck, we are looking for those. Shameless plug for Patty Loftus. Any questions for me tonight?
Very cool.
Very cool.
What day is that?
Great.
What day is Touch a Truck?
May
2nd from 10 until noon.
Some stuff over there.
Is that all ages or?
That is all ages, yeah.
Bringing his monster.
They have to wait in line. They probably won't let you budge if you want to touch your truck. But yeah, we hope to see you there and we'll keep our fingers crossed for good weather. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. All right, next, school board representatives.
All right, with spring break coming up, we don't have that long of a board report for you, but at the elementary school, they recently held the Tiger Fun Fair, which is just another great opportunity to bring students from NHS to help with at the elementary level. I know that, like Ms. Schultz said, that there was a ton of volunteers, and I know a good chunk of those were NHS members. So it's just really cool to have that older student, younger student involvement. And I didn't get any pictures that I could share with you this month, unfortunately. But at the intermediate school, students recently participated in regionals for History Day. They did their locals and then their regionals. And at the locals, they presented their projects that they had been researching and preparing for months. They all did wonderfully. This also gave the students the opportunity to share their work and demonstrate their knowledge that they had occurred over the months and months of that. And the student council organized a treat cart for teachers to show their appreciation. So they wandered around the school with their treat cart and just showed teachers some love.
At the high school, as Mr. Voigt said, we have spring sports starting, so getting ready for practices and competitions for the season. As previously mentioned, the NHS members also had the opportunity to volunteer at the Tiger Fun Fair, helping support the elementary school. And the 11th and 12th graders also participated in History Day by being able to judge the competitions, which is just a really cool way to give the little students some feedback on how they did. And it's kind of all we have.
Any questions?
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Next up are our board reports. First up is Masiko.
First off, I did hear if you're over 30 and going to touch a truck, you also have to sign up to be a lifeguard. So,
She said, I don't know how to, yeah, you don't even need to know how to swim.
Seen you swim.
we don't want to.
Jump in, kids. See how you do.
Okay. So
Okay, Masiko. We had a very typical meeting last month where we approved many of our at-will contracts and other position changes. Just a couple items of note. One of the ways that Masiko tries to reduce costs to member districts is to contract out sort of low incident services to other non-member school districts. So that is happening again this year and next year. So contracting out some deaf and hard of hearing services, physical health disability teaching services, things like that. So I just wanted to draw a note of that Masiko is always looking for ways to, share our staff to help students, but it also helps to reduce costs for the member districts as well. We toured the STEP and TREC programs, which is, and Journeys, which is at the Howard Lake main Masiko building. And the STEP program, which is the transition, so that's the 18 to 22-year-old services that we talked about earlier. That program is looking to have some significant student changes next year. Staffing is always an issue with Masiko because staffing is driven by student need, and student need changes every year. So they try to predict who will be coming. And this year with the STEP program, and we have talked about this before, but they're going to basically double their student count in STEP. And STEP program helps with things like life functioning skills, as well as like work readiness. So those students are sometimes out in the community and getting coached by Masiko teachers. So that will be a change next year. And they are looking at ways, they are hiring another position for that to serve the needs of that growing program next year. Any questions? Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. Next item is the Right Tech Center update.
So that was me. Been proud and bummed to say that I was part of the fastest meeting in Wright Tech history, I've been informed. It was 24 minutes long, so it was very much business as usual. Bummed because it took me 4 more minutes to drive there round trip than I actually spent in the meeting itself. So pros and cons, I guess. But
You're having a big impact.
yeah, mostly business as usual. Couple of items interesting to note, though. We talked about the LTFM budgets. They also talked about their operating budget. They are billing a couple of quarters ahead of time, meaning they're collecting Q4 payments in May and June to make sure that they're able to cover off on their operating budget. So they're not in a deficit necessarily yet, but they're certainly prepaying things. So they're keeping an eye on that. With that, for the 26-27 school year, they do have a couple of position consolidations, as well as one program that is going to be going away. It's the Auto Careers program for transitional students 16 to 22. They previously had it staffed because it had been running at almost 3 of the 4 blocks of the day with enough students to cover it. They are down to 1 and barely 1 just due to student demand. So they've had to make the difficult decision to stop that program, at least for now. And then they consolidated a couple other areas. So they're definitely trying to be very budget conscious and are making the necessary decisions to, try to continue to keep the ship floating well. And, the LTFM dollars will go a long way because they do have a pretty substantial list of like small, not even small, but some of them cosmetic, some of them mechanical. Having no bond payment will be great, but they still have some work to do, I think, in their operating budget to make sure things are running well. They did talk about also being at the Capitol, attempting to position themselves to get additional funding, as you alluded to. We'll see what comes of that, but I feel like they've been beating the drum for a good 5 to 10 years trying to get additional funding. It's always kind of been yeah, we get it, and then it falls off the list because it's not top priority. We'll see what happens, but to your point, with it being the only one left, they're either going to need to make a decision to fund it or it's going to continue to be an uphill battle for them. So they're doing well. They're getting payments on time. They're paying their bills on time, but they're making some tough choices to tighten the belt operationally. So that was really it. Otherwise, normal principal's report and superintendent director report, but that's it. Questions?
Thank you, Ryan. Moving on to new business. We have, in new business, there are 5 extended field trip requests that we reviewed in past work sessions. If there aren't any questions related to any of these requests, I'll entertain a motion to approve the 5 extended field trips for volleyball, dance, football, soccer, and 6th grade class trip.
I'll second.
First by Ryan, second by Corey. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries to approve those extended trips. Next item under new business is to approve the resolution to limit enrollment to non-resident pupils during the 2026-2027 school year. Again, this was another thing we talked about in work session last month. Anything else to
just updated the numbers within the resolution that was shared with you.
So moved.
I'll entertain a motion. Jess first. Any second?
I'll second.
Second by Sarah. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mary.
Board Member Morella? Aye. Or sorry, Zeppa?
Aye.
Board Member Roser?
Aye.
Board Member Baker? Aye. Board Member Gerke? Board Member Schaus? And Board Member Black?
All right, motion carries. Before we adjourn, thank you, Rachel, for pinging me. One thing we missed on the personnel report, as opposed to, in addition to the hires, is there were 2 teachers who are retiring. Mr. Steve Brown within the high school, and also Miss Natalie Palmer from the intermediate school. And we, as a school board, I want to just say thank you for all of their service and effort that they put into teaching all of the students that they've taught. They've touched many lives, and for that we appreciate that. If there's nothing else, next item is adjournment, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First by Jim, Up a second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.